Well, for the last couple of months, it has looked like the 2018 midterms next month were going to be pretty tough on Republicans, or at least they'd be argued over the president. Trump's economy, his immigration policies, tax cuts, his tweets. But at the last moment, a new issue has emerged and completely transformed the political calculation. Of course, it's the Brett Kavanaugh nomination. Democrats are angry about it. They're fired up in opposition to Kavanaugh. But even more important could be the reaction of many Republicans who are every bit as mad. In some cases, they're madder, and they're uniting behind the nominee. It's a complicated question, so we have asked to talk to one of our favorite correspondents, Gillian Turner, who has the numbers. Gillian, what is the answer here?
So, Tucker, for months, all the D.C. pollsters have been telling us the Democrats are revved up for the November midterms and they're ready to crush Republicans. But now a whole slew of new polls this week are turning that conventional wisdom on its head and showing conservatives of all stripes are fired up. The give isn't the Mueller investigation or tax cuts or regulatory reform. Party leaders say it's Brett Kavanaugh.
The defining issue in 2018 has changed. It's about this.
A new Marist poll shows the enthusiasm gap between Republicans and Democrats shrinking by the day. Just 2 months ago, there was a 10-point gap between Dem and Republicans' interest in the midterms, but now that playing field's leveled off. Compared to early September, the number of Republicans who say they feel extremely interested in the elections is up by 2 points in Arizona, 9 points in Indiana, 8 points in Missouri and North Dakota, and up 11 points in Tennessee. Meanwhile, a new round of Fox News battleground poll shows the fight for the Senate trending Republican, with the Kavanaugh showdown on Capitol Hill stoking interest in the midterms from Republicans all across the board. All 5 states surveyed showed an uptick in GOP interest. Incumbent Senate Democrats' votes on Kavanaugh could tip tight races, especially in Missouri and North Dakota. And voting against his nomination will hurt more than help the Democratic candidates in those states. While it's true Supreme Court fights rile up both parties' bases, this fight is strictly bad news for candidates running against the partisan grain of their constituents.
Whether you're a Trump Republican, a Bush Republican, a McCain Republican, a libertarian, or a vegetarian, you're pissed. I've never seen the Republican Party so unified as I do right now.
The National Republican Congressional Committee tells Fox News Republicans are voting with their dollars, too. They say from August to September, their donations are up 175%, with the average individual gift up by 111%. No one can say for sure, Tucker, that all of this hype's due exclusively to Kavanaugh, but all signs point to yes. Tucker?
Sure seems that way. Gillian Turner, thank you very much for that.
You got it.
Bryan Dean Wright is a former CIA officer and a Democrat. He recently wrote a really interesting piece in which he warned that his party's approach to the Kavanaugh nomination could turn out to be a problem for them in November. Bryan Dean Wright joins us tonight. Bryan, this is a really interesting piece that you wrote. I want to read out loud. I don't have it on the screen in front of me, but you said, this is part of a strategy attacking Kavanaugh, obviously. The progressive strategies work quite brilliantly. The media have been relentless in backing Ford in her claims with rapid response to outrage if anyone dared to challenge Ford's facts or insist on careful due process. Meanwhile, Kavanaugh has been vilified successfully as a rich, drunken, lying gang rapist. One media outlet suggested he's actually a pedophile. All of that is true. All of that would seem to work. I mean, it's totally immoral, but it seems to work politically for the Democrats. What's the downside, do you think, for them?
Well, we're seeing it in the polls and the fantastic recap that we just heard. Certainly, the Republican base is getting riled up, and rightfully so. But we're also seeing independents. If you really break down some of these polls, a lot of that movement, especially in the generic poll, is independents. They're either splitting a little bit more towards Republicans or notably more so towards Republicans. And we're seeing that across all age groups and also particularly white folks without college educations. So in other words, that's the Trump coalition. So the Trump coalition is coming home this November. That's what it looks like to me. So
I'm not sure why. So you point out in the piece that Democrats knew from the very beginning that they're unlikely to block this nomination because they don't control the U.S. Senate. So, but this isn't the only strategy they might have employed. What's really going on is they're mad about his views on Roe v. Wade. Okay, I disagree, but that's a point of view. Why not argue that in public? Wouldn't you get more in the end if you stood up for your own principles instead of just trying to destroy a guy on the basis of high school stuff?
Well, here's the part that, as an American, forget being a Democrat, but as an American, that outrages me over this strategy. My party used, let's believe her, Professor Ford, a sexual assault victim. We used her to achieve a political aim, a political goal
That's for
to
sure.
destroy the Republicans and the president. That is horrific. So if we're going to have a debate in this country about things like Roe v. Wade or tax policies or whatever it might be, gay rights, etc., let's have that forthright. Let's not drag somebody through the mud like we did with Miss Ford. We certainly could have had this investigation the first part of August. We didn't. We chose to drop it out in the middle of September to make this even more horrific. And we're getting exactly what we deserve, which is we're getting hit in the polls.
You're totally right. It'd be better. Let's have a real debate. I mean, that's the point of this whole show. I believe in debate. Bryan, thank you very much.
You bet, sir.